Welcome back to another episode of Please Call Me Crazy, brought to you by Free People Radio and powered by our favorite sponsor, TireGet.com. That's TireGet.com. You have to buy tires from somebody. You might as well buy them from us. Help fund the movement. Help support the movement. We believe in the freedom of movement, and that's exactly what the establishment wants to take from you now. I'm your host, Royce White, here in the belly of the beast, Minneapolis, Minnesota. And today we have another incredible family and friends HEBROES episode. The great Professor Penn is back in the studio today for a part 2 with the great Mo Bannon. Mo Bannon back in the studio today. Welcome back, Mo. Before you head back to Florida after the RNC convention, we had a huge power outage with the airline, so everybody's travel plans were interrupted and disrupted this past week, which was scary in and of itself. I just keep getting vindicated more and more when it comes to this whole flying and airline thing. I mean, that power outage. Did you see the map? There was a rendition of the map of all of the flights that were in the air before the power outage hit, and them all landing as the power outage hit. And it's one of the most horrifying things I think I've ever seen. If you know the implications of how vulnerable our power grid is and airline travel, I'm John Madden it. I'm going the John Madden route. But
get in the bus. Huh?
But if you fly every day, I mean, it's the power grid thing is a situation in and of itself. But anyway, Mo Bannon is here again for part 2, and I promise we're going to make Mo talk more than we do, because I think we overtalked Mo a little bit last episode. More people want to hear Mo.
No, I think I talked quite a lot last episode.
Did you?
I think so.
I want you to talk more. We got to
Okay.
get more Mo Bannon today. More Mo Bannon. Enough me and Penn.
More
Me and
Mo.
Penn, all we do is fucking talk. Professor Penn's here. Mo Bannon's here. I'm here.
It's a special edition tonight.
Yeah, special Sunday edition because news has surfaced.
The news, let Mo take it away.
So breaking news, Joe Biden has dropped out of the race for president for 2024. So he's not seeking re-election as of this morning.
Yes, and he had a very politically convenient letter that highlighted how great the economy is and all of the progress that we've made over Joe Biden's presidency. It's just straight out of Langley, as some senior advisor, staffer, speechwriter, letter writer that penned this bullshit. This country's going to shit under Joe Biden, and the economy's not good.
No.
And Joe Biden dropping out of the race, he should resign from the presidency. I don't know. I mean, all my political experts out there, you can be the judge of if that's good or not. Let's talk about that. What do you think, Mo? Do you think Joe Biden dropping out helps us or hurts us in 2024?
I think it depends on who the Democrats put up as the nominee.
Right.
If it's Hillary part 2 or Kamala, I think it just helps us even more. If it's Michelle, we have a little bit more of our work cut out for us, but
Yeah.
I'd be happy to see Hillary run again.
Me too. Yeah. What do you think, Penn? What do you got?
I don't think it matters.
Yeah.
I don't care. I just don't care. Because I don't
okay,
care.
Go ahead.
My political mission, get the state organized, win, doesn't matter who, because we're not running candidates, we're running on ideas. It's an idea election. It's about ideas.
Yeah.
The idea is very simple. It's very, very binary. Want to vote for peace? Want to vote for war? I don't care who they run up there to put a bow around their warlike New World Order, post-World War II Democrat liberal order philosophy. It doesn't matter to me. That thing is blown. There's enough people that have figured this out now that's just going to spread. So it really won't matter. In fact, let them send their best champion out. Let Donald Trump take down the best one they got.
I like that.
Yes.
As a competitor, that's my style. People ask me when I first ran for Congress, why would you run in CD5? It's a bastion of, progressive leftist liberalism. Why would you run in CD5? Give me the best they got.
Because you never back down from a competition.
Never back down from a good fight. I like a bad fight. That's just me. I'll take a bad fight. Even Amy. Amy's the next. But why would you run against Amy? She's just one of the most
I think
powerful.
you said that in your debate.
I want the best there is. I'll give me Amy.
Take down the top. That's why we're taking down Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we're here.
Staying here, yeah.
This is
Because,
we're not running away.
Yeah.
There's another thing, Mo. I got to tell you, we get these Republican candidates, they lose, and they move to North Carolina, or they move to Florida.
Yeah.
We're not going anywhere.
What are you trying to say about Florida?
I'm not saying I've never been there. No, that's not true. I've been there, but I'm just saying I'm not going there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm born in Minnesota. I was born in St. Paul in the 50s. I've been here my whole life. And I'm watching all these Republican people abandon the state of Minnesota. It's a beautiful state. It's a naturally beautiful state. The energy here is unique. I will not abandon my state. Just won't do it. I'm not saying I don't know anybody else's history.
No, I agree with you. And I think that it says a lot about not cutting and running if you happen to lose.
Yeah.
And continuing to fight. We've seen candidates do that where they lose in one state and they move to another state where they stand a better chance. And unless you have some sort of tie to that state that you move to, it's hard to get approval. We had this discussion.
We talked about that. Yeah.
Besides Texas and Florida, I think a lot of people want to see that you've grown up in that state that you're running in.
Yeah. I mean, and what we talked about is that Florida and Texas are different because those are the Republican capitals. Those are the bastions of Republican politics on a national way. So if you move to Texas, I mean, everybody kind of understands Texas. Not that you understand Texas locally, but what Texas represents to all Americans is, it's home base. It's there's a beacon that is Texas and Florida for obvious reasons. But yeah, I mean, cutting and running. The problem with it is, obviously now we're going to get in a huge legal throwdown through the Supreme Court about states' rights versus the federal government's scope of power. And, there is no running. I mean,
no place to run.
There's no place to run. And so it's like, for me, I chose to run here because I'm a competitor. Give me the best you got. And I like your theory. Give us whoever the best is. The question is, who is that, right? And Michelle, and I agree with you that Michelle would pose a much different threat. I just don't think that people are as in love with the Obamas as I think that look, and this is part of the reason why they went after Steve too now, because Steve honed in on this like a just ninja. Okay, Barack Obama ran as an anti-war progressive.
Populist.
Bailed out the people who were guilty of the financial crisis, right?
Nobody went to jail.
Bailed those people out.
Except for one poster child.
And not only that, he missile drone striked more black and brown people than any of his white predecessors.
He dropped his military, when he was commander-in-chief, dropped a bomb every 8 minutes someplace in the world.
Right. So
peace now, baby.
And Michelle as a popular figure, yeah, but we haven't seen how she's going to operate yet under the gun when it comes. It's much easier to talk about things, politics, ideas, when you are the backup dancer. And I'm not saying that being a wife isn't an important role, because it obviously is. Maybe the most important role. In fact, I think many men suffer from not having good, supportive wives. That's just my opinion. It's just my opinion. I don't know. Maybe women hate me for saying that, but the whole dynamic between men and women in marriages have changed drastically. That's why most men are getting divorced, which is a symptom of either men are awful husbands or women are not so good wives, and that's a dynamic. But Michelle has never been in a seat where she was the person that had to answer tough questions about policies, especially foreign policy. And this election is going to be a very heavy foreign policy election. I don't know if she's got the gravitas to. I mean, she'd have to make it completely superficial and identity politics for her to win. She'd have to basically come out and say, vote for me because I'm the black woman and because Barack was such a good president. But I'm not so sure that the black community really believes in Barack Obama's presidency ex post facto. When I talk to people about Barack Obama, black people, unanimously black people that I talk to are like, yo, Barack Obama didn't do anything for us. Now, when it was going down, when he was elected, obviously everybody was, even Alex, Alex Jones, as radical as we come. And even Alex was like, man, I wanted Barack Obama to be what he said he was going to be. But after the fact, now, I don't think people really feel the same way about Barack Obama that they used to. I just don't know. It'd be interesting to see.
When
They
he's
certainly Obama brought a level of gravitas and showmanship and charisma and good looks, handsome guy. You know, he brought a certain celebrity presentation. Michelle doesn't have that. She doesn't have 1/10 of what Obama brought to the table as a candidate. She just doesn't. You know, if you want to say she's a great mother and she's been supportive of Barack and she was fine. And they try to say the same thing about him. This would be just what they try to run with Hillary. Although the difference is Hillary actually held some public offices. I mean, at least she could say, I've actually done the thing. Michelle's never really done the thing. So they're completely just running a celebrity. I mean, it would undermine a lot of what they say is wrong about Donald Trump and other candidates, that they're unqualified. Michelle's wholly unqualified. I don't get what makes being the first lady, make you necessarily qualified to have the nuclear codes. I don't get that. I mean, what?
I agree with you. She's
Yeah.
not qualified. And I mean, being a mom and a wife is a respectable job,
Yeah.
but she hasn't felt like she hasn't been in office, done anything to qualify her, or a position in any way that qualifies her to have the nuclear codes. And, she would win based off of the fact that she is a Black female.
Right.
Like, she would be banking on that to get her elected. And I
Right.
think that, a couple years ago that might have worked. Now it's not so much. We've seen what this country has turned into under Joe Biden, and people are not putting up with that. They're not going to vote just because you happen to be a female or you happen to be Black. That's not how people are voting anymore.
Well,
Or a good portion of the
yes,
country are
some
voting.
some people certainly will. And I gotta back myself up a little bit here, because again, me and Professor Penn talk often about the crisis of credentialization in this country, and I think it was never legitimate for them to go after Donald Trump on the basis of him not having held political office. We actually don't want we want more outsiders. So I'm not saying you have to have held office to be qualified. What I'm saying is you have to have the intellectual chops
But I think
to be qualified.
I think holding office, and Donald Trump did change that
Right.
because he had never held office. But I think that in this day and age, you need to have some sort of background in politics or in that general arena, even if you haven't held office.
Right.
I've never held office, but I have an idea or a grasp of politics in order to fill a position like that. I'm not saying I'm going to run for president anytime soon, but I think that being in that general arena helps out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. But she can say at least that she's been.
But
closest.
did she pay attention?
Well,
was she in the room when
but that's my point.
Yeah.
It's not that she wasn't close enough to understand how things work. It's not that she's, that she didn't hold an office. The main issue is not only did Barack preserve the status quo. That's obvious. I mean,
strengthened it.
He went far and beyond out of his way to preserve the status quo. That's a fact. She, as a figure, is the linchpin of the status quo. I mean, the whole identity, the Black female is being used to the point of exhaustion in the identity politics scam. I mean, and it's just reprehensible how Black women have allowed themselves. I mean, look at Kamala. Kamala's a perfect example. I cannot believe that Black women actually celebrated that she was that she had been elected vice president. The notion that, hey, well, if you're Black and you get a high position, we'll celebrate you regardless of the type of person you are. They overlooked her history
or if you're qualified for the position at all.
Well, yes, absolutely. But they overlooked her history there in California.
Mm-hmm.
She never served the interests of even Black people.
Yeah.
I mean, she was, as establishment sort of, hard on crime and, as anybody.
But the Democrats want to paint Joe Biden and Kamala Harris as all about Black people.
Right.
They're probably the two worst candidates for the Black community.
I know.
You got the co-author of the 1994 crime bill that put Black men in prison, and Kamala Harris kept Black men in prison in California, having evidence to prove that they were innocent.
Was that 1990? Was that the super predator thing? Wasn't that the super
Yeah,
predator
Bill was in office.
Yeah, I mean, that was just
I think
But
Hillary
but
called them super predators.
Yeah.
but the candidates that the black community says are so for them, and Donald Trump is the racist. Do we not know how to research?
Yeah,
Like-
well, obviously we're having a significant crisis of political insight and research and acumen in the black community, or else we wouldn't be voting Democrat in the first place. And hopefully we're starting to turn some of that around. But yeah, I mean, black people, I mean, and that's a cultural thing that's been indoctrinated from early on. And we can't throw it all on black people. I mean, this is what I've been criticizing the conservative movement about. Now, why did you let the Department of Education and the school boards go into minority communities, population centers, population dense inner cities or metropolitan areas, and completely brainwash the kids? Like, am I supposed to look at the conservative movement or the Republican Party in retrospect and think that the ideological subversion, the brainwashing that took place in the inner cities, the concession to allow that to happen wasn't strategic and intentional? Am I supposed to, and even if it wasn't, you get to a point where it's like, regardless of if it was on purpose or not, the net result was the same. And either you people were in on it, or you should never be anywhere near strategy or power again. Because something, sometime, somewhere was decided that it doesn't matter if the Marxists and the communists go teach a bunch of black people that they should believe, any black person that rises up in society to represent you is a net positive. I mean, that's retarded. That's stupid. I mean, that's just, that is retarded. There's no other way to say it. It's plain retardation. It's a failure of logic. I'm serious. Just run anybody up there then. I mean, why not? And then it'll be Oprah, and then it'll be, if we go down this Michelle path, we're going to start down a path where it's who's the biggest black celebrity. Doesn't matter who they are, what kind of person they are. It's going to be how popular are they? How many fans do they have? Before you know it, Taylor Swift's going to be the fucking president of the United States.
Don't say that.
I mean, we're going down a dangerous road here with popularity politics.
Speaking of, I don't know what she's gonna do now that Joe Biden's not running. She's all about Joe Biden.
Who?
T.
Taylor
Swift.
Yeah, she's gonna.
Well, she's going to move her. She's going to move her delegates. She's going to move her constituents.
Strategic redeployment.
Yeah, of course. Well, and if it's Michelle, she's going to get so many brownie points because now she's the country singer who's supporting the black woman. I mean, it's going to be a match made in heaven.
I wouldn't call her a country singer either.
Well,
but
me either. But
Yes, you just did. Yes, you just did.
She started off as a country singer, didn't she? I mean, that was her genre.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now she's become a pop star. I get it. I don't like her music anyway. I never really liked Taylor Swift's music in general.
I never liked it.
And it's not a white-black thing or a country music thing. I just don't think she's particularly good.
Yeah, she's not a good artist at all.
Yeah, I mean, I loved Adele. I mean, when Adele shit first hit, this is totally off topic. This is part of the problem with the conservative movement too. We're not cool enough. I'm just gonna say it.
I mean, did you not see Jason Aldean did a concert?
Jason Aldean's a badass,
but he did he sat next to Trump at the convention on Thursday and then did a concert after. But Kid Rock opened up for
another badass.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about Hulk Hogan?
Oh, that was epic.
That's legendary.
Yeah.
If you don't like Hulk Hogan, you're an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
I heard there's some controversy out there that he was on recording saying the N-word and all this bullshit, and it's like Rogan, They went after Joe Rogan the same way.
Mm-hmm.
He said the N-word on some podcast, 12 years ago or whatever. Fuck you people. I love when Israel Adesanya is badass himself, middleweight champion of the UFC. They call him a style bender. He's a incredible fighter, but a cool dude too. And he defended Joe, and I loved it. Those are some of those transformative moments that can really heal the rift of racial tension in this country. When a guy like Israel Adesanya stands up and defends Joe and says, you know what, he said the N-word, but that's still my nigga. And I fucking love that. You know what I mean? But even Hulk Hogan, I don't even know. I didn't even go listen to the record. I don't even give a fuck. Hulk Hogan is an American icon for all the right reasons. He was a showman. He was a badass. He had a character that was incredible. you know, that takes talent, that takes skill and ability. And that moment was epic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there was just something about it. It's like we're going back to some traditional American. And if any of you black people out there trying to act like you weren't a fan of Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair, you're full of shit. I'll tell you right now, you're full of shit. All of us in the black, we had a different wrestling. We had a different professional wrestling era than, you know, the generation before me, the 80s, right? I mean, there was significant difference between the Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair era and the Attitude era, the Stone Cold Steve Austin and Rock era. But anyway, that was an epic.
That's my era.
Which era?
I'm an 80s baby.
The Hulk Hogan era?
Yeah.
Was it more? Were you more in the?
I was born in the 80s, the late 80s, but.
So you were at the tail end.
Mm-hmm.
You had a little more Stone Cold than.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, no.
I was telling Mo we were talking last night. She was talking about being close down at the stadium, and she was hearing the cheers of the stadium.
Yeah.
And I was telling her, do you remember Metropolitan Stadium?
Yeah, Metropolitan Stadium.
Were you ever there?
No.
Too young, right?
Too young.
You know, this thing is buried now underneath the Mall of America.
Right.
And my grandfather had a bar, so he was buying a lot of liquor. So the liquor company gave him box seats. And so we went to every Twins home game.
Mm.
And we sat right behind home plate. And it was about 30 feet to home plate from those seats. And when you came every week, the players came up and said, hey, how you doing, man? They knew who you were. It was a completely different era. And why I set that up is, see, it was already way out there. The wrestling here, we had a dude here out in Mound, Minnesota. His name was Vern Gagne. Do you know who Vern? You don't even know that. See, I'm going to have to play this on the podcast. We had our own, before the thing aggregated up and became an international entertainment sensation.
Right, it was like local barnstorm type wrestling.
It was the small business, the small shop owner. We had a dude here named Vern Gagne. He had his own wrestling league, All-Star Wrestling. And we had the Baron von Raschke and the Crusher and the Sheik, Adnan Al-Casey. And we watched every Saturday morning, and it was like right here. You want to go see the wrestling? You go right down to the arena, downtown St. Paul. Now it's the Roy Wilkins Arena. And you sit right there, and it's the local people. It was local.
Yeah.
See, we're losing that local.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just going to say, because I'm
the way
old,
you talk about that, I'll just tell you this, the way you talk about that makes it seem very cool.
It was
really
super
does.
cool.
Yeah, it makes it seem very cool. Yeah, we're never going back there.
Why you say never?
I'm sorry. We're never going back to local
Disaggregate the power. Let's bring
Yes,
things
I'm
back.
all for it. But
we'll get you going. We're going to call you the Senator.
You know I love a good show. I wouldn't mind being a WWE wrestler. I really would.
Well, I'm just saying it goes across all businesses, right? We've aggregated everything.
Me, you, and Mo. Me, you, and Mo will be a stable. We'll be the nationalists.
Get myself one of those big Mogan Davids, you know.
It'd be me and you in a tag team match. And every time we get a guy over in the every time we get a guy over in the corner, Mo will go and grab his feet, and you'll be doing something, sneaking them, and I'll be distracting the ref.
That's hilarious.
We got the whole script going.
Oh my gosh. No, the local wrestling was great, and then it got aggregated up into the WWE and the WWF.
Yeah.
And we lost the local flavor. And when we lost the local flavor...
is wrestling's big on the bases too, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Don't they? They do those big, huge shows on the base.
They've done a few.
Yeah. What's the entertainment like on the base? What goes on on the base? It's a whole different world. I want to know more about the military life. I told Mo that I was thinking about joining the military. Seriously, I was thinking about it a few years back.
I thought you were going to the monastery.
That'd be a good one too. I wouldn't mind that.
See, when you could join the FBI. When you're your age, there's a lot of things that can happen.
Not joining the FBI, but
a lot of dreams.
When he said he was thinking about joining the military, he's like, but I don't think being the height he is, it would work out. But one of my classmates was the same height as him.
Yeah, but he wasn't a SEAL though.
He was because we were in the Army. He was in He was in Ranger Regiment though, and he has a Bronze Star with Valor.
Right. I got that.
I mean, he was in the Special Operations community, and he was 6'8".
But you are limited.
And then he went into the NFL.
But
So
you are limited to what you can do based on your height, right?
yeah, I mean, you couldn't be a
Because,
pilot.
well, I wouldn't want to do that anyway. And
That's really all
and I
that
might
you're
be
limited.
I might
That's
be out
great.
anyway because I wouldn't be able to pass jump school and some of those other.
I mean, I
We're
didn't
going to
go.
get away. This is a good question,
Mm-hmm.
Mo.
Mm-hmm.
What did you do for entertainment on the base? I'm curious
Yes.
how everybody got entertained.
Yeah.
How did you entertain yourselves? Did they bring in?
It's like we don't know if we
acts?
can answer this question. Huh?
No, they bring in acts, or was there?
They did, and then sometimes different country music artists or other artists would come perform and do concerts.
Yeah.
And it depends. Like sometimes they would do certain units would get a certain amount of tickets to those, but I never actually went to any of them on any military installation. But my first duty station, but after my officer basic course, was Fort Campbell, and that's 45 minutes north of Nashville.
Yeah.
So I would go down to Nashville because I love country music. So I really got my fill of it down there. But I mean, deployed too, they used to do the USO tours. So they'd have different comedians and artists come over when units were in Iraq and Afghanistan.
Yeah, I remember that.
So Toby Keith was a big one on there, and so was Gary Sinise for the Lieutenant Dan band. Mm-hmm.
My point is, we'll go back to the Taylor Swift thing. First off, fuck Taylor Swift, okay? And I know a lot of people, I'm just like, you can't even say stuff like that. But for me, I don't think anything is more clear than the fact that the entertainment industry is the driving force of Democrat power. I mean, they're just, and when I say the conservative movement isn't cool enough, what I mean is, just like the Department of Education was all but surrendered to Democrats, and as by way of Marxists, the entertainment industry was surrendered as well. I mean, there was no fight put up. It just like over a course of a generation, and maybe you can add an insight on how this actually happened, what took place.
I was sitting here wondering if I should tell a story.
Okay.
Because people can hear this story.
Okay.
I have an uncle, great uncle.
You know what I'm saying, though, before you start?
Yeah.
The Democrats run the entertainment industry.
Mm-hmm.
It's gotten so bad that it actually, when you come from a Democrat communist hellhole like the black community, and you understand how powerful the mainstream media and celebrities were,
Ice Cube.
and I look at it now, and I'm watching how many people they call upon to come out and toe the party line and uphold the status quo. And I go right into every last one of their Twitter threads. It's sell out, sell out, sell out, sell out. I can't.
How about that great iconic clip with Cube, where he talked about the same people that were producing the rap music own the private prisons? Remember that clip?
Oh, yeah,
he did?
yeah.
I mean, unbelievable.
I mean, Cube stuck his neck out on the
he
line.
sure did, didn't
And
he?
he got slapped down
Hard.
pretty hard.
Yep.
Yeah. But I mean, why did we let that happen? Why did we let the entertainment industry, and what am I supposed to think that was by accident?
It was not by accident.
Who was at HQ of the conservative movement and said, yeah, you know what? We're going to let all the rap music, we're going to let all of the pop music, we're going to let all of these artists get co-opted into the Democrat Party and communist politics. I mean, where was the strategy? And that's why these people who all, proclaim to be these profound political strategists like Karl Rove or whoever else. I mean, pick one. Bob Keegan or Frum or any. I mean, just pick one of these guys. You guys are so smart, but you didn't see.
They missed the train.
You didn't see the threat on the horizon of being able to influence massive amounts of people in elective politics. This went unbeknownst to you.
Maybe it didn't go unbeknownst.
I don't believe it.
Right.
I'm sorry. I just don't believe it. I'm not a conspiracy theorist but damn, it's elective politics. The people with the biggest microphones and influences, like Taylor Swift, are going to be able to say, we're voting for Joe Biden. And there's 1,000 teenage girls who got Taylor Swift posters who are going to vote in 4 years, who are going to, think that they should vote Democrat. They don't even know the policies. That can't be by accident. What?
Well, I was just going to say along those lines, in one of her recent concerts, she said, fuck the patriarchy.
Well, yeah.
But you have all of these young girls listening to her thinking that that's okay and that what she's putting out there I mean, I don't think she understands the talking points that she's putting out there.
Taylor, you don't think she
Yeah,
gets it?
I don't think there's
Yeah.
anything going on up there, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think that she's just regurgitating what other people are telling her to say. But I think the issue we have with the Republican Party is it's,
Old.
and I'll probably get slapped
So
down
old.
for this,
So old.
is old white men in control of the Republican Party that
Yeah.
don't think that anything, out of their reach or understanding is going to help the party.
Okay, I got a question for you, Mo. I saw what I wouldn't call it a meme. Let's call it an infographic. I saw an infographic that depicted the difference between the Republican Party and the Democrat Party through a number of cultural icons, right? The two logos, and then it was like, a couple of other cultural epithets, and the two publications that were kind of the dichotomy of Republicans and Democrats was the New York Times versus the Wall Street Journal. Is that a fair depiction that the Wall Street Journal is more of I know that the Wall Street Journal is a part of the mainstream media industrial complex,
but out of those two, I would say New York Times is way further left-leaning than the Wall Street Journal.
But is the Wall Street Journal considered a more Republican? I honestly never really got that.
It is considered by
You would know.
Republicans to be more because
more
it's,
conservative.
it's just like people watch CNBC and think that because it's about money, it's not leftist. We have a very deep lack of insight in the conservative movement about sources of media and the ideology that underlies the movement, which we're alluding to all the time.
Right.
We have a whole 2-3 generations of conservatives that conserved the post-World War II Democrat liberal order, which you just talked about recently.
Well, yeah.
But that really, and then because they're aging, the average age here in Minnesota is our average age here is 462 years old in the Republican Party. 462. Hey, maybe it's 461 because you're hanging around now. But we don't have people that are really facile in modernity as a political practice. If we can't get people to really engage with upgrading their strategy. So it's kind of like I'm not saying, please nobody use this out of context. It's like war, right?
Mhm.
Wars happen. So in World War I, we had a mechanized war. There are people riding up on horseback. They all got killed. The Polish cavalry attacked the panzers when the Germans attacked Poland in 1939. They ran the cavalry out there.
Against machine guns.
Against tanks.
Against tanks.
So this is just part and parcel of warfare, and politics is war by other means, according to von Clausewitz. So we have people that lack in the foresight of changing strategy, changing platform. They cling to the paradigm, maybe for self-justification, maybe laziness, stupidity. I don't know what it is. And then when people show up and they have a new paradigm
They
present,
them. They reject them.
yeah, anti-Semite,
There you go.
racist,
Yeah.
homophobe,
Yeah.
traitor.
Yeah.
But again, I mean, this seems like it's not really refutable in that in what world, and this kills me. We got to win elections. We got to get elected. We have to raise money. Oh, we have to raise money. If you don't raise money, you don't have a real legitimate candidacy campaign.
I mean, my congresswoman, she was outspent 12-1. So she had financial backing, but not a ton.
Right.
And she's a sitting congresswoman. So that shows
Amen.
you
Amen.
that it's not all about the money. Yes, it's nice to have financial support in your campaign, but it is not all about the money. And I want to go back to what I said about old white men. Because I know someone listening is going to be like, well, her dad's older and he's white.
His heart's young.
Yeah. But I mean, my dad showed that Amber Rose clip how many times on the show? I mean, he understands that you have to get out of your normal way of thinking in order to grow the party. So I am not talking about my dad when I am saying that there are old white men in the Republican Party that don't have a grasp on reality or the way ahead. So I just want to put that one out there.
Well, yeah, I mean, and not only that, Steve has tried to expand the party, has exhausted trying to expand the party with the Black and Hispanic working class. He's made that his life's mission, and try to include some of the Bernie economic populists as well, and others as well. I mean, that's his whole and my point is, and pointing that out is, there's Steve and then there's everybody else.
Well, yeah, and it's not a coincidence that he's in prison 4 months leading up to the election.
Yes.
I get that it was the left, but Republicans could have done a little bit more, a little bit sooner than they did. Wait until a couple weeks before he's supposed to go into prison.
And that ain't no coincidence either. Yeah.
I mean, there are some Republicans that stuck their neck out there and worked tirelessly to make sure that he did not go to prison. And I don't want
diminish what they did.
Yeah, because they worked really hard.
Right.
But it shouldn't have been weeks before he had to turn himself in. It should have been back when all of this happened. And
it should have been a uniting and unanimous effort.
It shouldn't have been those handful that are America First and big members of the MAGA movement. It should have been the Republican Party as a whole.
And my point is, it's funny, there's, we can talk unity all we want to. We've seen the real openness to unity in the party on an ideological basis. There ain't much of it. Now, we might come together and support Donald Trump for political expedience, but that don't mean we've sorted out the ideas. There has been no sorting out of the ideas. And the America First movement, it's funny that the mainstream Republican, what we call rhino, or neocon. I mean, I'm not even supposed to use the word rhino. I had a political expert consultant tell me, don't use the word rhino. What? First off, go fuck yourselves. Use whatever word I want to use. Number one, don't even get up. Click. Shut your mouth. Click. But my point is, it's strange that the rhino Republican mainstream are the ones who are always talking about how to win elections and how to grow the 10, and it's all about strategy, and it's all about Donald Trump is too divisive and too extreme to get the white suburban voters. Joe Frazier's literally sat up there at the debate and said, I live in the suburbs. I'm going to go in the suburbs. And at first, Joe, excuse me, sir. Excuse me. Ain't no white suburban women voting for you over Amy Klobuchar. You must be losing your mind, okay, if you think that. You have no clue what's going on in this country culturally, which would make sense because Wells Fargo staff rooms and employment lounges probably get a little stuffy with all the, phony money they're printing. My point is, it's the America First movement that's actually opening up the party for new people to come in. Not only is it not only Donald Trump, but up and down the line, Steve too. And it's certainly whoever on Donald Trump's team. Well, look at Amber Rose. Her declaration was about MAGA. It wasn't, hey, I'm joining the Republican Party. I'm a Republican now. Now she was like, make America great again. And it was Kanye West. And all of these people who come from places that aren't traditionally Republican are coming in through the America First.
Oh, you're hitting it now. You're hitting the bedrock of the issue.
Okay, go ahead.
Because I'm a party officer.
Go ahead, party officer.
So Penn. I know, because I've been called some very scurrilous, very terrible words have been, because it starts out of you're self-interested. You're doing this for yourself. Then it's you're a liberal. Then they just go, you're a fucking kike. That's for me, okay? It's because it's just, there is the root in, I'm not speaking, I only know Minnesota. Everyone has to know their local polity. I can't comment on Florida. I have friends there, and they're very mad that I don't help with Florida. But I don't care about Florida until we secure Minnesota. If we secure Minnesota, we'll have the resources to go help Wisconsin. Everybody's got to focus in their own area. This is talk about strategy. Okay, I am a good strategist. I know it because I have evidence, right? There's evidence, right?
Amen.
So we're going to go from victory to victory, right? That's what we're planning on doing. There's no losing. We're just going to go victory to victory.
Be careful there, outing yourself as one of my chief strategists, because don't seem to be have a long shelf life for you fuckers right now.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, you're telling everybody who you are, and now they might come and bring some prosecution lawfare against you.
might end
like
up in
I'm
prison.
gonna hide. Like I'm gonna hide. I'm on HEBROES with you every week. I talked to Brother Tom, the attorney. I said, Tom,
I guess I'll be the
he
proxy
said-
for both of
he
you.
goes- and Tom says to me, he goes, I go, man, is everything buttoned down? He said, button down. You're on podcast with them once a week. You're no buttoning this shit down, man. I said, okay, come get me. Don't leave me there.
Right.
Because but that's another thing. The courage factor, is horrified. It's horrifying because we're taking risks. We have to build that courage. So, you talk the shit first, and then when your back's against the wall, you either play or fold.
Right.
We had a folder right here in Minnesota recently. People fold. And when they fold, they fold. The next guy up's got to come.
Yeah.
That's it. We're at that point. And the lack of strategy, the lack of really creative thinking is really what is the ossified old white man approach to politics. It's no good. It doesn't work. Why do we know it doesn't work? Because we're a hair away from communism.
Not only that, we know it doesn't work because supposedly elective politics is supposed to be is about raising money, yet you let all your Hollywood A-listers and cultural influencers swing to one party, and you think that's not going to pay dividends to the coffers of the party or the movement?
I think there's some conservatives in Hollywood, but they're too afraid to come out and actually.
They don't hold sway. Why does it happen?
But if they come out as conservative, they
lose their position.
They lose their income coming in because they think that no one's going to support them,
and no one will.
And
they're correct.
Yeah.
But
I don't think that. I mean, Dennis Quaid, he's conservative.
Well, but Dennis Quaid hasn't been.
I know he's not
an A-lister relevant for a long time.
I get that, but there's still some of them, and they will be supported within.
I'll tell you this: if Adele came out right now and said, in her British accent, I like Trump, or she would never receive another Grammy.
What? Basic, slow down, slow your roll.
Okay,
slow your roll. I'm watching. Did you see Zuckerberg come out and say that
Trump
was a badass, American badass?
Oh, did he?
Zuckerberg came out yesterday and said Donald Trump, I think the exact quote is, he's an American badass.
Zuckerberg, huh?
Zuckerberg. So this just goes to show you.
Things swing.
Hey, let's get some bets down on the other side of the bar.
Okay. But now put $250 million of your own money up for Republicans.
I want to just say, because this is critical. The idea, this is one of the most brilliant things that War Room has brought to the country. There's no conspiracies, but there's no coincidences. There's so much intellectual brilliance in that because human beings seek meaning. They seek meaning and they create stories and go down, and it really captures them and takes them away from effective political activism. If you think too much and create too much in the absence of facts, you're unmoored. Your reality testing is not. So when you have this thing, hey, here's a guardrail. If there's no coincidences. So we're talking about Hollywood. Your question was, why was Hollywood
surrendered?
And it was not surrendered. The universities were conquered. That's the issue. It's the universities. If we could do something.
The people in Hollywood didn't even go to university.
Yes, they did. The people that run those
you're talking about the lawyers.
The people that run it went to our most elite. We know some names in common. Where did they go? Harvard. They went into the institutions.
The lawyers did. So we're back to the lawyers.
The people that run the deal.
The lawyers.
The people that run the deal.
The lawyers.
That's correct.
Say it. The lawyers.
The lawyers, yes. Rule of law.
Runs Hollywood. They lawyers.
They run everything.
There ain't no fucking comms PR guy that runs fucking, these guys the lawyers run it. The lawyers do the deals. They say what can and can't go.
And they say who elevates and who does not.
That's right.
And it's not that they're in a conspiracy. They've been acculturated into the post-World War II Democrat liberal order, and they believe it.
But the lawyers are supposed to be best, right? Aren't they supposed to be neutral?
No. Who said that?
That's their whole gimmick, isn't it?
Ballast. Oh, they're ballast.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that'd be nice. They are neutral within the context of the framework of the law schools they go to.
which makes them communists.
Correct. And you know this, and I've been saying, how many times have I
It's
said,
classic.
how are we going to overcome this? And then I read Donald Trump's 20 bullet points where he took the Republican Party platform and he shrunk it down to something that's very digestible for the American citizens. And I read it and I said, defund any institution that promotes DEI or critical race theory.
Yeah.
Just defund them. And I'm thinking about how the universities work, because when my father started teaching as Professor Penn at the University of Minnesota in 1960, he made like $8,000 a year. He was working on the city filling potholes in the summer to feed me. There was no money in it. You taught students because you loved teaching. It was not a job. It was like playing football in the 50s. You didn't play to be a superstar. You played because you liked running into motherfuckers. That's why you played. You liked the competition.
Right.
There was no financial incentive. The professors, man, this whole history, why is Hollywood the way it is? The Marxists understood all the way back in Europe, Operation Paperclip. We go all the way down the rabbit hole if you want to, that if you control those academic institutions ideologically, you control the entire society and every institution therein. So every broadcast network went leftist. Every Hollywood studio went leftist. Every high school, we're down to grade school. We're down to pre-kindergarten leftism now, because everybody that gets a degree, and
even the conservative think tanks went left.
Of course, because everybody got this same. Here's the philosophers. They don't study the Bible anymore. They start with all the people that deconstruct faith and move forward.
Darwin.
Correct. So my whole thing about it is, wow, look at the brilliance of this platform. These people are they're on the money. They're hooked. These professors are making $150,000, $175,000 a year. The administrators are making millions. So when you threaten these people and say, hey.
They call the Star Tribune and tell them to label you as anti-Semite.
Cut them off the money.
So if we're going to defund universities
yes.
for teaching gender theory and all that,
I know where you're going with this.
Critical race theory.
Here we go.
Then we need to stop funding the service academies, because that's being taught at service academies as well.
Really?
Yeah. So at my alma mater, I went back and did a little research that there is a class in the Department of Behavioral Sciences and Leadership, or bullshit and lies.
Yeah.
Is what we called it when I was there, which my degree came from that department.
Oh,
so, but there's a class that teaches gender theory, critical race theory. You look at all the books that you have to read for that class, and it's all about DEI type things. So
wait, your alma mater is, for those that are just tuning in,
the United States Military Academy at West Point.
Which is one of our penultimate achievements for a citizen.
And I just want to point out that class was developed after I graduated. Years after I graduated.
In case anybody was wondering.
They did not have that class when I was there. I mean, I was a sociology major, and I took some interesting classes. Like I took a class, Marriage in the Family, but I did not take a class that taught me about gender theory or queer theory or critical race theory.
So that's even more recent. Did it come through Obama, right? I mean, he was instrumental in.
I believe so. It didn't start under Obama. It started, the beginning of Joe Biden's.
Okay.
If I go back and look, it might have been under Trump. So I think it would have been Obama pushing it, and then
probably bubbled up under Trump's nose, and he didn't even know it was really going down like that. Yeah, I mean that's all of us.
You can make big conspiracy.
I remember I said I was telling somebody the other day. Me and my mom were sitting there. I was watching back the interview that I did with Jake Julius, the Rattlesnake TV guy, and it was a cool interview. And I was recanting the story about Black Lives Matter and the George Floyd thing, and I was telling them when I had come from the time I was 21 at Iowa State. In 2012, when I got drafted to the NBA, to 2018, this was the exact time that Black Lives Matter really blew up. It was Trayvon Martin was the inception of it. right up in the run up to George Floyd, but the couple of things that had popped off before George Floyd with Mike Brown and, the other. So, if you weren't really paying attention, other than loosely hearing Black Lives Matter, seeing it on TV every time one of these situations popped off, you had no clue what was really going on. I mean, I didn't. I'm Black. I'm from the neighborhood for real. And I had no clue what trans even meant. I didn't know what the word meant. Like, that's how quickly they can
culturally
change
conquer the culture.
Yes, change the whole culture, change the whole narrative, change the whole thinking.
Can I tell you something?
5 years.
That barn door, that screen door, it swings both directions. That's number one. Number two, it's just all these damn universities. It just is. I mean, what's driving this thing are intellectuals, public intellectuals.
Yeah.
And boy, do they fight you when you challenge them. I get this thing. My producer here said, "We're going to call you Professor Penn." Man, I get so much gas about this.
You're not
really
a professor.
My father was a professor. I'm not really a professor. I'm educated. Then I'm thinking to myself, it's perfect. Because if these professors were so good at what they were professing, could it really be screwed up like this? So they're either dumb and fronting crisis of credentialization, or this is the outcome that they seek. And it doesn't have to be a coordinated conspiracy. It can be a series of serendipitous events because the system is turning out the same kind of thinking in a more and more homogenized kind of cookie cutter fashion.
Yeah.
Critical thinking. Did they have classes in critical thinking and logic that you took at West Point? Right.
They did.
Great. That's probably why you can think critically and you have logic.
I'm also Steve Bannon's daughter.
That's a good point. Yeah.
But I mean, we
a
don't
lot of
teach
unfair advantages you have there.
But we don't teach logic to our. This is This is why the conversations on X become so meaningless.
Weird.
Because
outright weird.
I got to tell you something. You're going to love this.
Okay.
Speaking of a conversation, I don't think you've heard this. I've got more breaking news. Local, but breaking.
Okay.
Our good friend, Maggie Jesse, broke an article today.
Yes.
Joe Frazier took
That was wrong. That was wrong. He did not take it down.
He did not?
No, no, he didn't take it down.
He didn't?
No.
Fake news.
Wait.
No, I wouldn't fake. I think.
What happened?
Okay, our this guy in the party in the movement named Maggie Jesse, who's a warrior, tells it like it is, challenges, where he thinks, he needs to be challenged, and he's young, so he's a step in the right direction for the party because he's young and he's
26,
active and he's passionate.
26.
26 years old, and he I don't know, maybe his browser was wrong, or maybe he was in the wrong browser, whatever the case may be, but he had took a screenshot of Joe Frazier's LinkedIn bio, and it didn't have he/him pronouns on it. So he thought that Joe Frazier had taken it down because of the debate. And then I went to go look at it, and it was still up there. So, I mean, Joe.
Equally indicting. Let's all go take a look at that he/him on the Joe Frazier.
I mean, he could have taken it down and put it back up.
What about the explanation he gave? The explanation he gave for keeping the pronouns up was so weird. I mean, his whole.
No, we're going to go right down the 50.
Well,
we're going right down that.
No, wait a second.
Yes, we are.
Wait a second. It was not the 501c3 thing.
It was a very 501c3 answer.
It was a very mainstream Republican politician answer because he really made an effort to highlight all of the most, let's say, common Fox News headline grabbers, right? It's like crime's bad and the spending's out of control and we got this DEI running through our society, which is all true. But then you have DEI pronouns in your bio, and he was like, well, yes, I do. And I'm saying we shouldn't force that on anybody. But we also have to realize people are human and suffering from gender dysmorphia. And I'm like, what does people suffering from genuine mental illness and gender dysmorphia have to do with how you identify as a man?
Oh, he just didn't want to say the truth. The truth?
Wells Fargo makes him do it.
He's at Wells Fargo.
Yeah.
That's it. And the Wells Fargo.
Which is a real indictment of his character, though.
You want a job? Put it in your bio, buddy.
That's a real indictment of his.
My stepdad worked for a branch off of Wells Fargo that did asset-based lendings to companies,
Yeah.
and he never had his pronouns in his LinkedIn bio.
I know plenty of people who work for Wells Fargo. I know plenty of people who work at woke banks. I know plenty of people who work for woke companies.
Yeah. I mean,
They don't got pronouns in their bio.
I used to work for a woke company before I started working with my dad after I got out of the military.
Yeah.
I not once put my pronouns in my LinkedIn bio.
You weren't a she, her?
No. I wanted to put some other pronouns in there, like within the few days before I
and I got to
left
tell
the
you
company.
something. People my age have no friggin' idea what you're talking about.
Okay,
seriously.
Let's go over
I mean,
this
really,
real
it would
quick.
be really cool.
Let me give a brief.
Which I think my stepdad and you are the same age. So.
Right. Well, then we're given the let's have a little teaching moment.
Let me give you a brief overview of the pronoun
mafia.
The pronoun phenomenon. Okay. The LGBTQ movement arrived at the transgender turning point of its movement, and out of it came this gender theory or queer theory or non-binary theory where anybody can identify any way they want on any given day. It can change, it's fluid. You can be a man. If you feel a little feminine, you can say you feel more like a woman. You can become a woman. Maybe you're a little in between. Maybe you don't even want to identify as human anymore. Hey, I identify as a pixie or a fairy or a furry, and that actually is happening too, which is crazy that we even give it any validity. And it does give it a sort of validity to put the he, him pronouns in your bio because the pronouns became the de facto social media based symbol that those companies, this big social media, big tech companies, were in alignment with the queer theory and gender theory, and that anybody else who is on it as a user is an ally to the LGBTQ, but really the trans movement for acknowledging the pronouns. So if I'm saying I'm he, him, it acknowledges that there is a they, them. Right? That whatever those pronouns are now, the list is up to 75, 76, I don't know, maybe it's 30. I don't even know what the number is. Who knows? It's lunacy. There is no real number because it's anything you want. People are making them up every day. But if I have to say I'm he, him, the point is to signal to
you respect everybody.
To the woke community that I acknowledge and condone and respect.
And he said that. He actually said that at the debate.
Joe Frazier actually said that.
That was his thing.
That was his explanation. I get that people go through this, and I don't have to be mean to them, and that is the whole. That's what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. And my thing is, it's always easy to say I don't want to be mean to anybody.
No, but that tumbles right down the rabbit hole. Right down the rabbit hole.
It's always easy to say I don't want to be mean to you. But there's nothing that really proves you're not in it. You know what I mean by that? It's just like.
Go back to the mean part. No. Stop right there. You're mean. Hey, Royce.
But what I'm saying is.
Royce,
what I'm saying is this.
Royce.
What I'm saying is this.
You're mean. You're
what
toxic.
I'm saying is this.
That's the thing.
No, what I'm saying is this. It's easy to say I don't want to be mean to somebody. I don't know that you don't really believe in this stuff. I don't know that you're not cross-dressing or doing something weird on the weekend yourself. I don't know. Because it's a private matter.
But
what I'm saying is don't come to the public square and say, hey, I'm condoning this just because I don't want to be mean to these people. There is no, and it's the worst of all. If you were a trans person, again, I said this before, if you're trans and you put they, them, I get it. Because at least you're saying, I want to identify as something outside the norm. Here's what I'm going to do to try and tell everybody else in the world that I want to identify outside the norm. Obvious. Okay, good. Makes sense. I don't agree with it. Seems stupid. It's unrealistic. You're not living in reality. But at least it's in alignment with what you're trying. If you're a man, a 60-year-old man, what in the world do you need to even comment for? The comment is complete capitulation. I mean, it's complete capitulation of social pressure.
That's my point. It's complete capitulation to the branding of masculinity is not good. That's what we're really at a fundamental
Right,
level.
right.
That's for me, this is where I'm at today. With it.
Okay.
Okay, I realize there's a lot of levels to this, and there's a lot of different layers.
Okay.
But the part that I'm objecting to today is when people tell me I'm mean because I have an opinion or because I don't agree with you. That makes me mean. You know what mean is? I know what mean is. I'm not mean to anybody. Now, Joe said, well, I got to accept everybody because I want to be nice. This is the nice part. This is where it goes down the rabbit hole into a certain kind of Christianity that seeks to love everyone, accept everyone. What would Jesus do? You know, it's taking that Jesus was with sinners and expanding that to allow for a political ideology that is intentioned to destroy Christianity. Right. So that and this is just like our Constitution.
Yes, but see this gets tricky though.
It does get tricky.
Because they use it both ways, because they'll use the same exact reasoning and logic to say, then if we're not going to put the he, him pronouns up, then we shouldn't let Amber Rose speak at the RNC either, because it does the same thing. We're saying Amber Rose is good because but her lifestyle and her choices are not indicative of a conservative and Christian worldview, so we shouldn't give her too much of a platform. And what we're saying in the MAGA movement is, well, wait a sec, the thing is to hold the principle. It's not holding the principle. If a homosexual walks into the church and I say, come on in, you want to repent, you want to learn about Christ, you want to learn about the gospel, come on in. That doesn't mean I start putting on a dress or I start having sex with men. That's not Christian. So there is a difference between Amber Rose saying, hey, you know what? I was kind of brainwashed before. I'm open to this new way of thinking. If y'all want me to speak at the RNC, I'd be happy to do it. I think Donald Trump's much better than I've previously given him credit for. I'm moving in this direction. When Joe Frazier puts the he and pronouns in his bio, he's going the opposite direction.
And when he says, I only want to go work out in the suburbs and I want to avoid the real issue.
Right.
The real issue.
I want to meander around in the suburbs.
It's a beta male.
Yes.
By putting your
You said it, Mo.
Thank you, Mo.
We didn't want to say it.
We were tiptoeing around here.
By putting pronouns in your bio, you're a beta male, and that's what the left wants. They want men to be beta and not alpha males, and anyone that is an alpha male, it's toxic masculinity, and we need more alpha men back in the society.
How else are we going to defeat evil unless we're willing to call it up? When somebody put out, we were reading this thing. Mm-hmm. I said, you're not an anti-Semite. This person goes, what makes you say that? I mean, how do you? I said, it's a testimony. It's my personal testimony. And they go, well, you're not entitled to do that. Go ahead.
Calling him a misogynist. If he was a misogynist, I wouldn't be sitting right here.
Well, yeah.
Especially Friday, but also today. You wouldn't have a podcast with a female guest on it if you were a misogynist.
I think I've had more female guests than I've had male guests.
And anti-Semites don't hang around with Jewish people. It's so.
Are you sure? Traditionally speaking, in your experience with anti-Semitism and anti-Semites, do they typically hang around Jewish people every day?
It has been my experience that real anti-Semites will kill you. Given a chance, it doesn't even have to be a big chance. They'll kill you. Now, people say anti-Semitic things casually, say racist things. That a real anti-Semite, a real racist, they're not hanging around with you and me. And this is why I got such a problem with this Amber Rose thing. It was so indicative because I'm really watching what's going on in the party. And this group, please don't swear, Royce. This group of please don't swear, Royce. Please, we could support you if you stop swearing. This group of people does not want to increase the engagement of the Republican Party. They're playing a losing hand. They want to lose.
Yeah.
They're not opening up the books. And they're occupying a moral high ground because they're boomers that they don't deserve to have. It's faux. I'm not saying there isn't a single or two or three truly righteous people in my age group, but I know my age group. And we took the seals off of all the negative things. We said, hey, it's all about me, narcissist. I'm going to just feel good about everything I do. Make a lot of money. I'm going to do anything I want to do. drugs, sex, you name it. That's my generation. And then we sit here at my age and judge people. I mean, it's really so duplicitous. It's so self-serving. And I'm not going to allow myself to sit on the sidelines as I age and allow my generation that basically was so narcissistic that the country got wrecked because we didn't participate in politics because we were so self-absorbed. I'm not going to die like this. I want redemption. And I'm urging all the boomers, which is, your father is the leader of that boomer movement, saying, hey, this got screwed up on our watch. It's not too late to fix it. But we get these conservatives right here in Minnesota that will not embrace change. What they're defending
is a lie.
Well, they're defending the Democrats.
Yeah.
The Democrat liberal order.
Yeah.
They're the best of the Democrat liberal order.
That's awful. That's scary.
But that's where we're at.
That is exactly.
But that's the throwdown going here in Minnesota and every state.
Across the country. That's Donald Trump.
We're having this intellectual
That's what
argument.
they use to talk. They say Donald Trump's not conservative enough, right? I mean,
he's not conservative of all.
At all.
At all. I guess the nature of what it is to be a Republican is changing.
It's getting called into question.
Because you said on the last podcast, and I agree with you, the conservative movement failed to conserve anything.
No, it didn't. It didn't. It didn't fail to conserve anything. It conserved liberalism.
Correct. Good work. That would make
you
them
know what? You know what? It didn't conserve it. It proliferated it.
The outer bastion of the New World Order.
Yeah, that's right.
The Republican conservatives and the Pashtuns. They're on the same payroll.
Yeah, well, that is considered to be a line you can't cross, but we better start crossing it.
We better and what's going to happen over the next 4 years, in my opinion, Mo, because we have this confusion of ideology. Your father trying to clarify this, but it's such a change to have this kind of clarity. It's going to take a couple more cycles until the movement focuses on the ideas and not the people.
Right.
We got to get the ideas sorted out. We're in a process. We're in a period of change. I mean, these people are defending free trade. They're defending it. And it's like, come on, we kind of moved past, even the Democrat Party moved past free trade.
Right.
Because we have enemies that here's the difference. The Democrat is using carrots and sticks. The nationalist is saying, no more carrot and sticks. We're putting up a wall. Okay, we're doing our own thing. We're going to go back to interdependence and self-sufficiency. The Democrats...
Which they call nativism and isolationism.
Right. Mm-hmm. George Bush, they're running it all over X now. His famous speech where he says America has the evil twins is isolationism and nativism. And, they're running out people ideologically who have been revealed previously to be absolutely overthrown. There's a guy named Steve Shire. He teaches at Carleton. He put an article in the Star Tribune, the 4 unifying political figures in America: Nikki Haley, Mitch McConnell, John Fetterman, and Dean Phillips. We need to look to these people as the future of unity in the country. And that guy's a professor at Carleton, which only supports bringing around my concept about why our institutions have been. Carleton is one of our 2 best private universities here in Minnesota, the other being McAllister College. And these schools are turning out generation after generation of woke leftists, which is now the center. So from a military perspective, using the communist model, all these immigrants came in the 30s and 20s and 30s and 40s, escaping Europe, and they were leftists. They made a lot of progress, a lot of Trotskyites. And somebody said, you know what? We can't kill all these people. Let's let them run the thing. We really don't care who runs it. We can let the left run it. We can let the right run it, as long as we get $4 trillion a year for the military and the medical. We don't give a shit who's running it. Go ahead, kill each other. Kill each other. That's more business.
Yeah, that actually makes it better.
And the more division.
Good story. Gives a good story to tell.
The more division, the more hatred.
Yeah.
But when we get down to that status quo, like I said on my podcast, which I'm waiting for a response, AIPAC, you go to AIPAC, that'd be the Jewish lobby, which the Jewish people don't want to say exists. This is another thing. Jewish people, We're not really in it, but we're so proud of the biggest lobby in the business, AIPAC. Right on their landing page, you got Mike Johnson, Tom Emmer, Hakeem Jeffries, and Clark. Right there. They're saying, whoa, look at these people we support. That's the ballast right there.
That's the uniparty.
And I bet who runs AIPAC is lawyers.
We'd have to look into it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they call Steve an anti-Semite. They call
Why do they
Donald
call
Trump
Steve?
an
Why do they call
anti-Semite.
Steve an anti-Semite?
Why
You
do
know,
they?
I listened to. You know, when I told my father
Mm-hmm.
that I was really, I'd met, because I had become associated with Steve Bannon,
Mm-hmm.
the first word out of his mouth, and my father was a very prominent public intellectual, anti-Semite. And I said, why do you, I was stunned because I've been watching War Room. You had that rabbi was coming on, giving those benedictions and stuff. And I'm listening.
Zev Zelenko?
No, there was a rabbi.
Another
the man
rabbi.
passed
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
He passed away, but Steve would have him on. He'd pray, and I was watching 2 hours of War Room a day, and I never saw anything even remotely anti-Semitic. So here's what's anti-Semitic. You ready? The Westphalian nation state, because your father would say the Westphalian nation state. I'm a proponent of the nation state. That was
Right.
because that's the inverse of you saying globalism.
That's right.
You're an anti-Semite.
Right.
Simply because the
Me
ideology.
and Steve just said it two different ways. He said the Westphalian nation state. I said globalism.
You're both anti-Semite.
Both anti-Semitic.
Because what you're doing is you're questioning the globalism of our institutions.
Mm-hmm.
Because our Atlanticist institutions are. And my mother, who's super leftist, said you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. Yes, yeah, we better. And there's a difference between globalism and globalization. That's another thing. Globalization is political. It's an economic form. But that's a step down in the hierarchy of getting to globalism and global governance. That is a technique of globalization. It's not globalism. You could have globalization without globalism. Bullshit. You can trade with other countries. You can trade. We can
to
do
what
business
extent?
to the extent of whatever the extent we maintain our own independence and interdependence.
Not to the extent where the majority of our supply chains come from outside our own country.
That's poor policy.
Right.
Why did that happen? I saw a thing. I'm sorry to ramble on, then I'll quit. I saw a thing just recently about this issue online because at the RNC, they had the president of the AFL-CIO was there, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And conservatives were putting up saying, you can't have this unionist guy at what? This is fantastic that he's there. Unbelievable. And here's why they said
You
it.
think it was good, Mo, that he was there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
here's what they said. It was this is how dumb these people are, how unformed their thinking is. I hope they clip this and put it up because the person who's dumb, we know who he is. He said, "Oh, it's the unions that ran the jobs out of the United States." That's how dumb they are. They actually think it was the unions that ran the jobs overseas, like the tails wagging the dog. No, that's not what happened. The banks intentionally created policies that allowed for outsourcing for all kinds of reasons that the banks had, and the Congress, because they're on the payroll of the banks. But they want to blame those union workers for trying to make the most for themselves.
Right.
It's really, it's as disingenuous as him.
Back to 2024,
Sorry.
Mo.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think actually happens here? Joe Biden's out. He's saying he's not running for re-election. Who do they go to?
I hope they go to Kamala Harris because that would be a cakewalk for us. But I don't know. I don't know if they're going to put Michelle up, Hillary round 2. It'd be nice to beat her again.
Yeah.
But I think I don't know if Joe and his team, his handlers, want Kamala Harris because they know that would be a Donald Trump win in a landslide.
Right.
I don't think Joe and his team have any juice left. His
I think
resignation.
I think his team does. He doesn't. That's for sure.
Okay,
I mean,
who
I'm
is-
I'm shocked that Jill let this happen. In all honesty, Jill is the reason he stayed in this long. She's the one that liked being first lady, having all of, the benefits that came with being first lady. So I'm shocked that she let this happen, but I think that his team does still have a little juice left in them.
I think we're going to have a massive throwdown now in the Democrat Party, because we see in the Democrat Party, they have a truly left populist wing. They've got a truly anti-Israel wing. I mean, these people are all going to throw in their opinions. They got a lot of different blocks. There was a coalition that had been put together.
We kicked, Steve and Donald Trump kicked it off. They kicked off the inter-party warfare, between MAGA and the rhinos, and now it's going to go down in the Democrat Party.
The Democrat Party has gone so far left. This isn't the Democrat Party that my dad grew up in at all. So I think there is going to be fighting within the Democratic Party because you have so many progressives that want someone further left than Joe Biden in office, and
you got
that might be Michelle Obama.
Is that
might be?
Is that Kamala though? I don't think that Kamala is much further left than Joe Biden, really. I mean, I think she talks a good game, but I think she's as middle of the road.
I don't think she talks any game because she can't put a sentence together almost as much as Joe Biden.
Yeah.
It's a word salad.
Worse because she's 25, 30 years younger.
But it's a word salad, and it's no original thought. She says the same thing over and over again. I mean, I've been accused of doing that, but at least I can put a sentence together.
Kamala says the same thing over and over again. Mm-hmm. The worst video is her saying, something unburdened by, what has been unburdened by what can be.
Yeah.
I mean, how can they run her? That clip alone.
What can be
unburdened by run it?
What can be unburdened by what?
We've heard it so many times.
What can be unburdened? What has been unburdened by what can be? That's what the saying is. What has been unburdened by what can be? It's ridiculous. Mm-hmm. It's not even it doesn't say anything. But she does it over and over, and it's like a patented saying. Mm-hmm. I don't know how they. I mean, they're going to have to include her in the ticket so that they can use the money that was raised. That's for sure. But she can't.
So what are you going to have, a female presidential pick and a female VP?
Good luck.
Yeah,
that's going to be tough to sell.
Do they have a non-status quo candidate that they can run out there? Is there a non-status quo Democrat? Donald Trump, if you look at his 20 points, says deconstruct the administrative state. I mean, they're coming. I mean, this is a radical.
Wonder where he got that one from.
Right. Correct. Fantastic. People don't understand. You made a beautiful comment. We're going to have his back because the radical things he's intending to do is going to be very destabilizing to the status quo.
Completely destabilizing.
And so he's a destabilizer. He's coming to, we hope. I hope. I don't want to say we. I hope. Because there's a lot of status quo there too. Who on the Democrat side is not a status quo candidate? Is there anyone? Because then
AOC.
Who?
AOC.
Oh.
Well, AOC could make a play.
She could. I don't think it. No, I don't think.
Hakeem Jeffries could make a play.
There could be a Jeffries. That would be a night. That would be horrifying.
I mean,
he's as status quo as they come. He's right on the AIPAC landing page.
I mean,
can you imagine a throwdown?
They got to go to Gavin Newsom. They got to go to Gavin Newsom.
Yeah, they do, don't they?
They have to. It's not. There's no other way.
Man, that's going to be some broken hearts. That's going to be a great convention to watch.
That is going to, what's going to happen is you're going to hear race come. I'm telling you right now, race is going to come up so much over the next couple of weeks on the Democrat side, and they are going to literally admit, they are going to show their position of let's say, racial tolerance to be exactly how superficial it is. I mean, you're going to see them now on MSNBC and CNN talk about race and the demographics of votes about as clearly and transparent and as superficial as you've ever seen over the last 60 years. It's going to be all right out there up in your face. It's going to be right out there on the table. They're going to say, if you put Kamala here versus here, this is what you get from the black vote. If you put Gavin Newsom here, you're basically shitting on the black woman. You know, it's going to all be out there on the table now, and the conservatives would do well to watch every single minute of it and replaster it all over the internet to widen our tent, because they're going to have to betray all their former positions. Because Kamala, here's what you don't see when you make a play like that DEI sort of identity politics play that they did in the first place to put Kamala up. Because Kamala, I mean, went after Joe Biden about as viciously as anybody could, you know,
and scored points. She laid glove on him.
Yeah, she
laid glove on him hard.
She went hard. But here's what happened. This is the unforced, unseen error of playing that game. Now you got a candidate who's the vice president, which is conventionally, traditionally, you know, a leading person to, you know, assume the throne, heiress apparent, and now you can't run her because she's so bad. But you Jimmy rigged and wedged her in there. You know, you pushed her in there.
She's the heir apparent.
Yeah, and all the black women all across the country had celebration, jubilees, because a black woman had made it to this position, even though she was
not qualified.
Unqualified in terms of her intellect and her integrity and her gravitas and her seriousness. Yeah, she's wholly unqualified. Now you're stuck with her. Okay, so now the Democrat Party that plays DEI is going to come back and have to shit on Kamala. And they're going to have to run Kamala and Gavin together.
Well, they're kind of caught between a rock and a hard place.
Yes, they are. Yeah.
It's great. And what's really going to be one of the most potent parts of this is you've got that anti-Israel wing now.
Right. That's serious.
And that the cork's coming out of that bottle.
For sure.
Because they want...
We saw it. We were driving, and there was one sign on an overpass going on 94 west of Minneapolis from St. Paul.
Yeah.
One sign on an overpass.
Yep.
And it said, one guy with two signs. One said, Joe Biden supports genocide. Amy Klobuchar supports genocide. He wasn't a Republican. Okay.
That's a real complicating factor.
He wasn't no Republican. This was a referendum on the Palestine
But then
deal.
the liberals, the old liberals, which I would be if I hadn't, like Amber Rose, I decided to join the Republican Party.
Yeah.
That's really what happened. And, you know, I got conservatives that call me a Trotskyite here instead of a kike. They're being nice.
Yeah.
Anyhow.
It's a nice way to say it.
Nice way of saying it.
Yeah.
Anyhow, those old liberals are still in the party. They're going to try to use this opportunity to regain control and pull the party back closer to the status quo. This is going to be.
But see the problem they're having is, and you and I know this, Mo, that liberal wing of the party has grossly underestimated the influence of young people as the base of their political energy.
Which they went after with all this entertainment
That's
stuff.
what I'm saying.
So they themselves have created their own last stand.
Yeah, they've crippled themselves because
just
the young
like with
people
Kamala,
run their party.
Just like with, it's the same thing.
Right.
Same process.
Right.
But we don't know. I don't want to say we. I don't know.
The young Democrat cohort that are all DEI'd up to their eyeballs. First of all, they're losing a lot of them as well, because the latest polls in Minnesota show that the graduating boys of high schools all across the state are in favor of Republican. But
how many are going to vote? This is the other thing, though, too. I mean, this is really critical. I've got this daughter, super educated.
That's
Columbia.
not the point. Hold on, wait a second.
No, she's not going to vote.
It's not the
how
point.
Many of these people
it's
not
the
going to vote? Go ahead.
The point is that the 80% of the young people are already swinging the other way. So even though they've tried to go out and monopolize the young people, they've lost most. They're starting to lose that grasp as well. Now with the Israel thing, most of these young DEI brainwashed students, they have no love whatsoever for anybody who supports Israel in their own party. I mean, their whole. I'm looking at it in the comments, and this is what I was trying. And we've been saying this for a while though, and I've been saying it for a long time. I said, you got the Jewish lobby and Israel better sort out. They got their own thing to sort out now. Who's really on their side? Not who can we convince that it's politically expedient to throw down with us. I mean, who really believes? Because we're getting to the point now where the same entertainment industry that was utilized has demonized that issue to the point where all the young people, they unanimously believe that Palestine should be freed and that what took place in Palestine was a genocide on the Democrat end.
On the left.
Yeah.
The left end.
So how are they? So, how do they redeem that now? I mean, they are in a crazy trick bag that, I mean, I don't even know if this is what I was saying about Michelle Obama. I don't even know if a Michelle Obama could help them out, because the first thing people are going to point out, put Obama up. Or you think that if you think Joe Biden's involved in a genocide, you think Obama wasn't there to advise? If you believe that what happened in Palestine was a genocide, you think Barack Obama had no say in what went down? What took place? How is Michelle and Barack getting separated out from what happened in Palestine?
Putting Michelle up would be Obama's chance at a fourth term.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no doubt. I mean.
But getting back to what you said about males shifting here in Minnesota to the Republican Party, I don't think that has anything to do with what happened in Palestine. I think that,
sure.
But I think that it has to do with the fact that the whole he, him.
Yeah, young men are demonized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the fact that the left wants to break up the nuclear family and have women be equal, if not better, than men, I think that is what's driving them across the country, but especially in Minnesota, to the Republican Party, because the Republican Party is all about the family.
Yeah, I mean, in young boys or young men, the cultural attack in the schools even is on young men wholesale. I mean, that's been going on for a long time, but it's really ratcheted up with the rise of feminism as a powerful political movement. And young men are just, they're hearing it. Men are useless. Men, we don't need men. We're our young boys are toxic, and masculinity is toxic, and Batman is toxic, and it's just it's out of control, and you're really seeing a rejection of that in that population. And then look, Minnesota is not a super conservative place in general. I mean, especially not in the high schools.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to see conservative Minnesotans, they're going to be, of that 30 and beyond age. And there are a lot of them. I mean, it's, Minnesota's split right down the middle. All of the elections show it's, 300,000, 200,000 votes split. So it's not like it's way over to one side or the other. But the boys, 80% is a huge number for graduating senior boys. That's huge. Which means that, and the other 20 are obviously cucks. I mean, they're destined to be cucks, or they haven't figured it out yet. The high schoolers. That's what I'm saying is, when you're in high school, it's easy to be indoctrinated or influenced by whatever runs the social circles of the lunchroom.
So is it in college now?
That's right.
So it's not like they're going to learn those numbers, 20.
Those numbers don't make any sense, because what you're saying is that the indoctrination machine is failing.
It is.
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah, it is failing.
I think that they've gone too far.
With the boys, it's failing.
But they've gone too far in trying to indoctrinate that now you're rebelling against the indoctrination.
Well, and the women are going to go next. I mean, they have a crumbling position, because look at all the women that are getting pissed about the Title IX.
Well, that, or telling them that your job's more important than having a family.
Right.
Like, women, there are a lot of women that want families.
True.
Feminism, you're telling them your family doesn't matter. Your career is more important.
Right.
That's not, you're going to have women rebel against that, because
for sure
we're meant to be mothers and have children, not I am CEO of War Room, so I can't really justify
right.
that, but, not run a company for years.
Well, yes, naturally, that is definitely,
I'll get crap. I'll get crap for that one too.
But
once in a while you step into it, just don't read the comments.
But I'm all about, I mean, I had this conversation with family. I had it with my dad. You know, being CEO of War Room is amazing, and I want to continue to do that. And if I can do that and have a family, that is great. But it's not one over the other. Like, it's
Yeah.
not, I'm not going to put not having a family
Hey,
so I can continue.
you haven't lived until a woman's looked at you and said, "I don't need a man," because I've heard that, and it's not personal. It's the zeitgeist of the time.
Yeah.
And then I say, really, really, because if you just talk about it a little bit, people want to be logical. People can figure out it's the zeitgeist if they're not caught up politically. If you're caught up politically, that's the politics of our time. We're going to watch a hurricane the next few weeks with this Democrat Party. I'm going to get myself some popcorn. This stuff's going to be entertaining. This is entertainment.
Yeah.
If you look up here in Minnesota, I have been in a full-scale wrestling match with the Uni Party for how many years, Royce? 2-3 years?
Yeah.
I mean, really, it's been intense. And people, it's not fun because we have this natural human desire to commune with other people and cooperate with them. So when people really will not cooperate with you, that's very energy involving. But this party now, compared to our party, we got one cleave. They're fractured. They're really fractured. My thing is, I'll say it again, I don't care who they put up. They don't have a center anymore other than, guess what? We're going to war. That'll unify us. Hey, we're all going to rally around the troops. If you in the absence of any coherence, a war will be very clarifying.
Well, yeah, that's true.
We get stupid around that stuff. All the people that are saying give peace a chance, they're all traitors. Right off the bat.
Yeah,
traitors.
that is crazy. The people who are calling for peace are traitors.
Traitors.
That's when you know you become a warmongering, bloodthirsty culture.
But that's their play.
Underneath the surface.
I have to say that's their best unifying play to win, to hold on to power, is to have a crisis that requires status quo unity.
War. But there's not a war out there for them like that right now. There's not a war out there. Well, you're saying they're going to produce one so that they could have that unity in 3 months?
Do you know that the Israeli Air Force yesterday, the Yemanis flew a little switchblade drone, some little drone, flew it into a building in Tel Aviv. Yeah. It did kill someone, I'm very sorry to say. Yeah. 4 or 5 people got injured. They flew the F-35s into Hodeida, which is a port in Yemen. Mm-hmm. And if you take a look at the pictures of this port, it looks like a inferno. In other words, the proportionality of the response was not proportional. They blew this city up. So when you make the comment that there isn't a war out there, there's nothing to get behind, hey, this thing in the Middle East is perfect. Right out of Hollywood. All the shit's lined up over there. All the resources are there. Everybody's stretching on the choke chain, trying to get off. Let me off the chain. Put me in, coach. Put me in. I mean, because really, the Yemanis attacked Tel Aviv. Israel has never bombed Yemen. It was the first time it ever happened. And you see those F-35s?
So you're saying they're going to rally around Israel? That's going to be the war that they use as a rally point?
Well, that would kind of take care of the far left of the Democrat Party.
How?
Because they're going to get marginalized when U.S. troops get committed to conflict in the Middle East.
Yeah, but you can't rally around Israel if the young base of the party. This might end up being. You can't rally around Israel when the young base of the party.
You're not rallying around Israel. You're rallying around the United States of America.
Yeah, but you can't. No, you can't rally around the United States of America when your entire grassroots energy is based on young people that have a anti-Israel, anti-Zionist position. It's not. How are they going to do that? How are they going to how are they going to fudge the numbers when polls are going to be coming out every single week of people that are in opposition of what happened in Palestine through the universities?
That'd make as I've been saying, that'd make the far right and the far left aligned.
That would.
Right. We're in a moment of intense political realignment. Intense. And then we get the conservatives saying, we're keeping our tent closed.
Go ahead, Mo. We got breaking news.
Breaking news.
Yeah.
Joe Biden's statement on Twitter. My fellow Democrats, I have decided not to accept the nomination and to focus all my energies on my duties as president for the remainder of my term. My very first decision as the party nominee in 2020 was to pick Kamala Harris as my vice president, and it's been the best decision I've made. Today, I want to offer my full support and endorsement for Kamala to be the nominee of our party this year. Democrats, it's time to come together and beat Trump. Let's do this. So it looks like they're...
At least Team Biden is gonna throw down with Kamala. They're going for the identity politics, huh?
Yep.
And I've been telling people since I got into the movement that say, oh, you don't need to talk about race. If you talk about race, it just sticks around. Don't talk about it and it goes away. Oh, it ain't going away. They are about to run the ultimate bourgeois Negro takeover of the United States of America.
And also from a statement from President Clinton and Secretary Clinton.
No, they did not.
In their statement, because I'm not going to read the whole statement. We are honored to join the president in endorsing Vice President Harris, and we'll do whatever we can to support her.
That's it. The Clinton wings thrown in.
So they're putting it all.
They're throwing the house on Kamala Harris. Oh my goodness. You got to be kidding me. That's a real indictment. Let
me check the Obama's Twitter feed.
That's the one to check.
That's an even bigger indictment than if they had thrown Gavin Newsom in. It's a bigger indictment because at least Gavin Newsom acts like at least Gavin Newsom is better at acting like he's up to snuff. Ideologically, his framework and his worldview is completely un-American, to say the very least, but it's very radical itself. I mean, Gavin Newsom is not a moderate. He's radical. But at least he knows how to pretend like he's up to snuff. Kamala doesn't even do a good job at pretending. I mean, they are literally trying to say that white suburban women and black people are so stupid that they'll vote for Kamala Harris, even though they can see how unqualified she is for the position. You're going to put that cackling fool in charge of the nuclear codes? Are they serious? Holy cow, that is a dark, dark indictment and development.
I can't pull up
Obama's
statement.
I got it.
But in the comments, it says that he doesn't endorse.
Right. For now, Michelle and I just want to express for now. So it looks like the Obama wing of the party is going its own direction here because they're not endorsing. For now, Michelle and I just want to express our love and gratitude to Joe and Jill for leading us so ably and courageously during these perilous times, and for their commitment to the ideals of freedom and equality that this country was founded on. There's no endorsement.
It said there's no endorsement? No, there is no endorsement.
There's no endorsement in there.
Kamala. No, there's no endorsement yet.
Big Mike and Kamala.
Well, they're saving that one.
Could be.
That's going to be the big. That's going to be the big announcement, right? They're saving their endorsement to have the most impact because they won't miss a chance to have Kamala and Obama on stage together and parade.
Oh yeah.
The two black politicians around as the progress that this country has made on race relations under the Democrat. I mean, it's just so. This is why I got involved in politics in the beginning. Put me up. Hey, maybe the RNC should have invited me to speak. Seems like we're definitely going down that road now, haven't we?
Well, you know what? 2020.
It's going to be a referendum. And I said in the beginning, you can dance around the race issue all you want to. The referendum now is going to come down to race. They just tripled down on the race card.
They're playing it.
They tripled down on it. They quadrupled down. Mm-hmm. They threw the whole house on it. Because running Kamala is throwing the whole house on the fact that you can either win elections in the inner cities or with white suburban white guilt, or that you're just going to fudge the numbers and everybody will believe it because everybody thinks you're going to win in the inner cities. And that is going to decide that, well, first off, they think it's going to decide the next election. The trouble with it is the Black community is already gone from the Democrat Party, and
My question,
they very well know who Kamala Harris is. So it ain't like when you see 50% of Black men are polling for Donald Trump and a Republican candidate, they're not aware of Kamala Harris. Everybody knows Kamala Harris is. They don't really like her.
Well, they know she didn't get to that position because she's qualified.
Right.
but is that really where in your kind
Right.
of overview, generalizing? Where are Black men and what do they think? As a young
I
Black
don't like
man,
Kamala Harris. Don't know Black men. Ain't no Black men supporting Kamala Harris.
and why is that?
She's fake. Her laugh is fake. You
Kind of
can't-
like Joyanne Reed's hair. Same idea.
Worse.
You notice she stopped wearing one of those wigs after Ben Bergquam called her out for it.
I know, right? the Joyanne Reed, Kamala's laugh is faker than Joyanne Reed's wig.
Mm-hmm.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I mean, I will say, you can't help how your hair grows and what kind of hair you got. That's actually not true. It can be difficult for some people, but I grew up in, my aunts and people were involved in the hair care business, the beauty business. So, it's not, some people have real trouble with their hair. I get that. Now, the fact that she talks about white privilege and white supremacy and wears a white woman's wig, that is completely and utterly ridiculous. But it can be difficult. But Kamala's laugh is indefensible. I mean, it's just 1,000% fake, and it's curated too. Like, I mean, you actually curated a fake laugh. Like, people got together and
So they're going to
talked about it and decided it was good.
She's going to have to run out there and be articulate on the issues.
Which she can't be. That's what happens.
How?
That's what happens when men that you've been sleeping
Do you
with
think-
have gotten you into power. In all honesty, and I know, I'm just
Whoa.
saying that's exactly what happened. And
Wow.
that's exactly what happened.
Mo
She's
Bannon
never been.
went straight
she's
up
never
the middle.
She's never
we ran
been
an
qualified.
I formation dive on Kamala Harris just now. Throw it to Mike Allstott and
I'll never be
you
back
run it
on
up the
this
gut. What? We love that. Continue. Just
I mean-
take the last 15 minutes and go
I
ahead.
mean, that's exactly what she did.
Yes.
It's men that she has been sleeping with that have gotten her into power. She's not been qualified for the positions she's been in, and people have voted her in because she's a female, because she's Black.
Yes.
Do you think she understands any of the issues going on in this country right now?
Absolutely, she does. And I think she's on the wrong side of them intentionally. And she acts dumb. I don't think she's that dumb. I think she's just acting dumb.
I think she's that dumb.
Well, look, we better at least consider that everybody who acts dumb now is just acting. Yeah, because I mean,
So you think AOC is just acting? You think
I think Soros and the deep state has a whole roster of people that they're putting in position that they've paid to act as stupid as they've brainwashed the public to be. And they call on those people at a frequency that all these drones, and I mean, look at what we see on social media, just me and you, what we see in the last couple of days.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the how potent the brainwashing is. And I think maybe they're that dumb. I'm not saying they're not dumb. I know the character they put on is dumb, but I can't think you're that dumb. You could be. I know some people personally that are that dumb. I'm not saying it's impossible, but Kamala,
well, I think
she's seen, you can't, I'll say this. I come from the neighborhood and I know some girls that work. I know some working girls that get walking around money. They're not stupid, but they do know how to play dumb. And a woman who screws her way to the top, that's kind of part of the act. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Yeah.
I'm the cackling, damsel kind of, cold calculating foxes. Be careful for them. Watch them. Stab you in the back. These are the ones that'll set you up. And as soon as you get your pants off, there'll be some guy kicking in the door, pointing a gun in your face, robbing you. I mean, seriously now. So when you make an indictment about a woman screwing her way to the top, these women, these types of women, they play dumb, but I don't know how dumb they are. And look at the position she's put herself in now. I mean, we all said when they picked her as the VP candidate that she was a heartbeat away from the presidency.
I'm not saying she's completely like outright stupid.
Yeah.
She's not. I mean, like you said, she slept her way to the top, so she must have been doing.
That takes some ability. Yeah.
However, I think she doesn't grasp
the issues.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. Well, if you're saying that she's not going to be able to,
she can grasp maybe one or two things, but if you're thinking everything that comes with being the president of the United States, she does not grasp.
Yes, Mo Bannon is saying that there are limits to the intellectual gravitas of people who sleep their way to the top.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Okay, good. And it's going to be on display now because now you're walking into a presidential race where Donald Trump has obliterated Joe Biden in the first debate, and you're next up. You got to walk into the next. Kamala Harris has to walk into the next debate against Donald Trump after having gotten shot. Well, how does she do that? What is that debate prep like? She's just gonna lie. She's gonna get up there and just start lying, right? I mean, she's gonna get. It's gonna be a bloodbath.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be even worse for the Democratic Party than the first debate.
Much worse.
Yeah,
because everybody feels bad for a man who's suffering from dementia. Kinda. Even when I look at Joe Biden and I know what he's done and I know who he's been.
He's not a good person, but you feel some type of. It's like elder abuse putting him on the stage.
Yes. Even when he starts just trailing off and you get that, any good decent human gets that feeling over him that's like, damn, they doing him like that. And everybody's laughing at him and you kind of laugh yourself, but then you feel bad. You're like, damn.
But he's got dementia. Like, I mean, my grandma had dementia and you get defensive when you think that people think you're the crazy one.
Right.
You think everyone else is crazy. So you're going to get defensive. And I think that's when we see him yelling or raising his voice. I think that I'm not crazy. You all are crazy.
Right.
But yeah, it's elder abuse. But that was Jill Biden keeping him out there as long as she did.
Yeah. Trying to hold on that power. Jill's got expensive taste.
And Hunter, because he's sniffing literally for a pardon.
Right, of course. Well, I mean, Kamala will give him a pardon. That's not going to be an issue.
Well, Joe can before he,
before he
steps out the door.
12 o'clock Friday night. Yeah. I just looked up Kamala on Israel's invasion of Gaza. She's on both sides of the football.
Oh, great.
On the one hand, she's saying, I'm with the protesters, I understand. And on the other hand, she's saying kind of meaningless drivel that Israel needs to pay more attention to the civilians.
That's everybody, though.
Right. So
that's everybody.
She's not bringing any clarity. And she's going to have to bring clarity to that.
She doesn't bring clarity to anything because she can't.
That's true.
She can't grasp any concept of reality for many of these issues.
Yeah.
Well, she's going to be forced to go on the record now, isn't she?
She is. I can't wait. I cannot wait to hear some of her stances.
Me too. This is going to be
great entertainment.
The best entertainment since Donald Trump and Hillary.
You know what Frank Zappa said? He said elective politics. Do you know who Frank Zappa is? No, you don't know either, do you?
No.
Man, Frank Zappa was a fantastic musician who was also a political theorist. And unfortunately, he was taken early, died in his middle 50s. But he was a kind of a groundbreaking dude. And he had a band called the Mothers of Invention. And yes, they were. But he said that the elective politics is the entertainment division of the military-industrial complex. In other words, if we don't get a lot of people to the polls, like an overwhelming majority, one direction or the other, what he was saying was, before he died, which was a long time ago, it's just entertainment. And I think this is something that we as American citizens need to focus on. The action is these lawyers, Royce. That's where the action is. That is the action. Who's running the deal? Who went to law school where? I think Obama. Didn't he go to Columbia Law School? No, he went to University of Chicago Law School. Kamala Harris is an attorney, isn't she? Tom Emmer here in CD6, he's an attorney. All these people have a legal background. You know, we should look up. I know that 18.7% of the Congress is military veterans. I wonder what percentage of the Congress are lawyers. Probably higher than 18.7%, isn't it?
Probably.
Probably so.
Mm-hmm.
So that's rule of law. So we're pissing around with entertainment, and we're saying this is going to be super entertaining. That's the difference between your candidacy
Right.
and entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
You're not here to be entertaining. You're here to challenge the status quo. You're toxic because you're challenging what? A broad social agreement on spending $4 trillion a year on killing people. The core of our society. What we're really good at, killing people.
Right.
Okay. I don't think that's such a good idea for my kids.
So now that we've gotten the breaking news, you think it's going to be Kamala, even though they okay, Joe endorses her, but Joe doesn't necessarily have that much juice anymore. So his endorsement is only
Perfunctory.
only carries so much weight, and he kind of has to say Kamala because she was the VP.
Yeah, but I think all these Democrats that were Joe's our candidate, I think are going to go with what he said. I don't think, Nancy Pelosi, AOC, all these others that were asked that stood for Joe saying, oh, he's the sharpest he's ever been, or he, is in great health. Clearly, two things we know are lies.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to now go, well, let's just go against what he said and put someone else up. So I think that they'll back Kamala, which I hope they do.
You
Yes.
certainly got the inside track.
To wrap up here, what do you say? What's our strategy against Kamala? Do we shy away from the identity politics, or do we just put a pedal to the floor and gun it and just call it for what it is? Bullshit.
Call it for what it is, but also go use what she did in this administration or lack thereof against her.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that Donald Trump will win in a landslide.
Yeah. I mean, the polls already show. I mean, all the polls that they've pulled about Kamala versus Donald Trump, he's up by a big margin on Kamala.
19th of August is the convention start date. So there's a lot of time for this to get really strong.
Can you think a Michelle and Kamala ticket? Does Michelle help the ticket if she's the VP?
I don't know. In all honesty, I
don't know if she wants to do it. We don't know.
She's come out and said she doesn't want to be in politics, but I don't.
Desperate times call for desperate measures.
I don't know if two women can win a ticket.
Well, they're definitely going to make that the identity politics, coup de, the coup de grace right there. That's the big bonanza is like, let's run two women. How can you not vote for this?
Two black women against two white men.
Wow. There you go.
Perfect. It's right out of Central Casting.
Jeez. Yeah. If Langley could write a playbook, that would be it.
They don't
right?
care who, but see, that's the part. They don't care who wins. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We have so far to go. Getting you in the Senate, down, 59 to go.
And I want to point out a tweet Joe Frazier did. He said there was only one viable candidate after that debate last night.
Yeah.
And he's correct in that tweet.
Right.
It's not, he was going with him though.
Right.
It's not him. It's Royce. And that's why he needs to get elected into the Senate.
And it's a cultural issue. One, if we get one voice, two voices, three voices, we could get a landslide.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's really what we need. Politicians that are not in it for the politics, people that are in it for the culture, for the well-being of the people, just don't have that. This is good. We're actually sitting here amongst ourselves laughing about how entertaining. There's nothing fucking entertaining about this. Yeah. It's actually horrifying. Yeah. We're on the verge of nuclear war in the Ukraine. We're on the verge of a Holocaust in the Middle East.
Right.
I mean, there's really nothing funny about it. We're actually mollifying, or I don't want to say we. I am mollifying my own anxiety by acting this way. Because I'm going to go home tonight
and not sleep,
and not sleep all night.
Me either. Yeah.
My anxiety is going to go through the roof because I'm going to realize this is going to reveal This is the great reveal. That none of these people are really steering the machine. The whole idea of civilian governance is a lie. We don't have civilian governance. That's my opinion. Sorry to end the show like that, but, you know.
Well, that's what we're trying to get back, right?
Right. And, you know, you're supposed to, and then the people say, listen to you, and they go, oh, he's stupid.
Yeah.
You know, a smart man shows up on the tack with politics and with positions, and right away, stupid.
Yeah.
And then we got these people, can't make a paragraph, can't make a sentence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're running the things.
Can't speak without notes and prep and a whole team of people
Oh,
telling
my
what
God,
they can and can't say.
And you go and you'll talk for 2 hours off the cut. Donald Trump will go out without a teleprompter and talk for 2 hours.
Yeah.
These people.
I mean, and even if Donald Trump does have a teleprompter, he doesn't stick to it.
Right.
The few times that he has, he never sticks to it.
Yeah.
So
it's a good thing.
yeah,
He's reading the room.
Yeah.
He's reading the room, and he is a jazz artist.
Yeah.
This person, paint by numbers. Paint by number. We got the paint by numbers people coming out now.
Wow. Well, we certainly got to watch this development over the next couple of weeks. It's going to be fireworks, to say the least. Probably going to bring yield a lot of what we would assume would happen, especially with Joe Biden giving his endorsement to Kamala Harris. Maybe they just think ain't nobody stopping the Trump train anyway, and they're serving her up as a sacrificial lamb. Possible. Because all the numbers, I mean, if you're looking at the numbers, and these people believe in the numbers, they believe in the polls. I mean, they say that all the time. So if they believe in the numbers, there ain't nobody who's beating Donald Trump.
You know, it's interesting.
Maybe they're saving Gavin for a future race because Kamala's already burnt up. Maybe she took a pay cut to run sacrificial
There's
lamb.
something that'll have me up tonight, anxiety prone.
Mm-hmm.
He's not well enough to run for president, but he's still the president. Doesn't that concern you? When he says himself, I'm raising my hand, I can't do this, I'm out.
Yeah.
But I'm staying around till next January.
it concerns me that
Great
both
point.
of them have the nuclear codes.
Oh, man, I'm up all night. That's it. Thanks, Mo.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of Please Call Me Crazy. Mo, thanks for being in the studio, parts 1 and part 2.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, safe travels
Great
to
pleasure.
you. Back to the land of Florida, and good luck with the war room. We'll be watching. The whole audience will be watching. We'll be on War Room, and we'll get you back on through Zoom. We'll Skype you in, and we'll do another HEBROES guest episode.
I got a
Sounds
surprise
good.
for you.
Yeah.
Mo might come back before the primary.
That'd be good. Yeah, we love to have Mo Bannon. We love to have any Bannons in the building. So thanks for being here, Mo. Everybody knows where to follow Mo. Mo, what's your X before you go?
Maureen _Bannon.
Easy. Yeah, you can follow Mo. Mo's easy to find.
Yeah, if you're on the campaign, go find Mo too.
Yeah, that's right. Go find Mo. Go find Mo. That's a hashtag. Go find Mo. Oh, man. Well, the fight continues. As always, we appreciate your viewership and listenership today and the future. The people are coming. Godspeed. We'll see what happens. Kamala Harris is up. Joe Biden is down. Donald Trump is winning. Trump lives. And, you know, this is one of those moments. This is one of those turning points in American history. All the history books are going to be rewritten about this saga right here. So we're happy to be in it. Go to roycewhite.us for whatever you want to go to roycewhite.us for. I won't be too specific. And follow Professor Penn's podcast as well, 7:30 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday and Thursday nights.
Pulp Fiction on Tuesday night. We're doing Pulp Fiction is the name of the podcast.
Great.
Pulp Fiction.
Classic.
Great.
Classic.
With all this fun we're having, it's kind of like Pulp Fiction, isn't
That's
it?
right. That's right. That's right. We appreciate everybody out there. Thanks again. See you next week.